Hello and welcome to Chabot News for May 21st, 2026. My name is Manny, and today we are covering the Israeli ceasefire, Billie Jean hitting #1 again, and the Mass Communications Department pickleball match. In sports news, Bruce has the latest update on the North Korean women's soccer team in South Korea. All that and more coming up in today's edition of Chabot News. A ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon has been extended for 45 days. It was set to expire on Sunday. Under the new terms, Israel will be allowed to conduct defensive operations. The agreement follows the latest round of negotiations hosted by the State Department in D.C. The two countries are set to reconvene for more negotiations on June 2nd and 3rd. Michael Jackson's Billie Jean is back at #1, more than 4 decades after the song was released. The classic hit tops Billboard's Global 200 chart this week. Fueled in part by renewed interest from the new Michael Jackson biopic, the song climbed from number 65 just 3 weeks ago, and now leads the chart after more than 51 million global streams in a single week. Billie Jean also sets a new record for the longest climb to #1 on the Global 200 chart, reaching the top in its 144th week on the list. Billie Jean was originally released on Jackson's Thriller album in late 1982. It dominated the US Billboard Hot 100 for 7 weeks. Professors and students face off all the time, in lectures, office hours, and on final exams. But this week, the battleground moved to the pickleball court. Chantal has the story.
Pickleball. Part tennis, part ping pong, pure chaos. But on a Friday afternoon in the Southgate Park in Hayward, it became an academic battleground. On one side of the net, 2 professors of Chabot's Mass Communication Department are playing to prove that pickleball is fun. On the other, 2 classmates playing to prove them wrong. Now let's introduce the players.
I've been playing pickleball off and on with Chad for the last 4 years. Well, I enjoy it because I get to hang out with my friend.
Go easy on you, and then I saw them playing. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go easy. It's not gonna be fun. Old age bodies may prevail.
It's fake tennis. You know, me and Manny, we're probably gonna get our asses kicked, prepared to catch a cramp and be like, yep, that's it for me.
I think I saw about 5 TikToks and some about tricks and tips, and I was definitely looking at the tricks, not the tips.
After some quick warm-up, the match finally started. Turns out, experience beats youth. Professors Tom and Chad commanded the kitchen. That's pickleball slang for the net area. While Lamont and Manny got pickled and wished they had watched more than 5 TikToks and a YouTube video. Let's see what their thoughts are now.
Teachers are feeling pretty good. It was expected. You know, it's more about having fun with your friends than winning or losing.
That felt great. I think they should not be chicken, and they should really try again.
It's exactly what I thought it was gonna be when I came here. We got pickled.
I mean, it was fun. It was a good game. We did get steamrolled. I have no interest in playing this. If I wanted to play this, I think I'd play tennis.
The final score wasn't close. You'll win? A court filled with laughter, unexpected shots, proof that professors can have fun, and a lesson every student learned the hard way. Don't challenge your professors to a sport they've been playing for years. This was Chantal Perez, Chabot News. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Chantal. Well, it looks like the professors are still undefeated, at least on the court. Professors won the match 15-0. Spirit Airlines announced on May 2nd that it has begun shutting down operations. Chris Dorr has the report.
Spirit Airlines has canceled all upcoming flights and says customer service is no longer available. Passengers of the airline were upset upon hearing the news.
I'm upset, and then also it makes me nervous because I've already paid money to go on a cruise. You know what I mean? So I can't let that go to waste, and then I don't want to drive all the way to Miami. That's 10 hours.
The people who have created this inconvenience for people like myself, you know, they should ask God for forgiveness. I mean, this is terrible. We are the customer. We're the one that maintain Spirit Airlines for 34 years in business. And look what this is how they finish it up. That's bad. That's very bad.
Soaring jet fuel costs, which have nearly doubled since the start of the war in Iran, derailed the airline's plans to emerge from its second bankruptcy. Spirit and the Trump administration also failed to come to a last-minute bailout deal on Friday, May 1st. Chris Storr, Chabot TV.
Thanks, Chris. We had our own reporter, Enrique Peña-Ponce, go out and ask students what they thought of the sudden shutdown of Spirit Airlines.
How do you feel about Spirit Airlines no longer existing?
Well, to be honest with you, I kind of forgot Spirit Airlines even existed. So it's unfortunate that it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, you'll never see those colors again.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
How do you feel about Spirit Airlines no longer existing?
I think it's very unfortunate because a lot of people really depended on it. Flights are super expensive nowadays, and it just keeps going up due to the lack of gas. And oils. So it was definitely that one that saved your life last minute.
How do you feel about Spirit Airlines no longer existing?
You know, on the fact that Spirit Airlines no longer exists, it's pretty sad. I know a lot of people who can't typically afford plane tickets relied on the airline, so it was really crazy to think, all of the people that just kind of had to end up being stranded where they were when they shut it down so suddenly.
Thanks for finding out what students thought, Enrique. Spirit had faced financial problems for years. The last time it was profitable was before the pandemic. Recently, Tennessee decided to redraw its districts after the Supreme Court voted to weaken the Voting Rights Act. Tennessee's House Speaker is punishing 2 Democrats for how they protested against redistricting last week. In a letter, Cameron Sexton says he's removing State Representative Justin Jones and Karen Camper from committees and subcommittees. He says they violated chamber rules during a legislative session. The letter singles out Jones for burning a sign with a Confederate flag. That lawmaker accuses the House Speaker of retaliation in the face of dissent. Tennessee's new Republic-drawn maps divide heavily Democratic Memphis into 3 congressional districts. Justin Jones was kicked out of the Tennessee House in April 2023 for protesting, but was quickly re-elected to his seat. Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, and the soundtrack of the 1993 video game Doom now share an accolade. Patrick Cornell shows us the honor they all just received.
Check this out. Those modern masterpieces from Taylor Swift and Beyoncé, they're part of a group receiving a prestigious honor. Taylor Swift's album 1989 and Beyoncé's single Single Ladies are among 25 sounds inducted into the 2026 National Recording Registry of the Library of Congress. A slew of eclectic classics dating back to 1944 also made the list. Some of the hits include 1954's Fly Me to the Moon by Kay Ballard, the timeless 1959's Put Your Head on My Shoulder from Paul Anka.
Put your head on my shoulder.
We've also got Jose Feliciano's 1970 Christmas carol Feliz Navidad, 1973's Midnight Train to Georgia by Gladys Knight and the Pips, Go Rest High on That Mountain from Vince Gill, and Weezer's The Blue Album. A couple quintessential sounds also made the cut. The iconic broadcast audio from the fight of the century, Ali vs. Frazier.
This might shock and amaze you, but I will retire Joe Frazier.
And for us 90s video game lovers, the 1993 Doom soundtrack.
Thank you, Patrick. From pop anthems to soundtrack of pixelated demons, the Library of Congress is preserving the sounds that help define American culture for future generations. Now let's go check on sports with Bruce.
Thanks, Manny. South Korea is hosting North Korean athletes for the first time in more than 7 years. A North Korean women's soccer team arrived to compete in the Asian Club Championships. The 39 players and staff from Pyongyang's Napoleon Women's Football Club quickly moved through the arrivals terminal, avoiding the crowd of journalists and pro-unification demonstrators assembled for their arrival. The 39 North Koreans, including 27 players, are permitted to stay in South Korea for a week if they advance to the finals, scheduled for May 23rd at the same stadium. The other teams competing in this Final Four this week in South Korea are Australia's Melbourne City and Japan's Tokyo Verdy Belize. The rare visit comes despite strained relations between the two nations as North Korea continues to harden its stance against the South. Seoul seems to be taking a low-key approach to Wednesday's semifinal in AFC Asian Women's Cup, for which more than 7,000 tickets quickly sold out last week. In a dramatic victory, Napoleon Solo took the Preakness Stakes Saturday in Laurel, Maryland. The Preakness is the second race of the Triple Crown and has been held since 1873. The race for 3-year-old thoroughbreds, Napoleon Solo surged into the lead in the final straightaway for the win. The favorite, Taj Mahal, led the race for the vast majority of the contest until the event entered the final 2 turns. After a muddy and physical race at Pimlico, Napoleon Solo made his move down the front stretch. The race is second of horse racing's Triple Crown. The win gives the colt his biggest career victory so far and adds even more intrigue heading into the final leg of the Triple Crown next month at Belmont. But with no Triple Crown on the line this year, the focus now shifts to whether Napoleon Solo can prove his performance was the start of a new dominant force in 3-year-olds racing. That does it for this week's sports. Now back to you, Manny.
Thanks, Bruce. If you like daring humans, then this next story is about your favorite animal. Jeremy Roth reports.
Video from a Japanese zoo shows a person jumping into an enclosure full of monkeys while wearing a bizarre costume with a big, goofy, smiling head. Officials were not smiling and say 2 Americans who deny the allegations were detained following the stunt, which happened to take place in the enclosure housing the internet-famous Punch the Monkey. Yes, that Punch the Monkey.
Thanks, Jeremy. Fortunately, no one was hurt. It just goes to show you that when people want to act like animals, ridiculous things happen. Graduating and finding a job is difficult enough these days. It's even more challenging for students with intellectual or developmental disabilities. A University of Arizona program is working to change that. It's giving students with disabilities a real college experience and a path to employment. Isabella Lisco went to a program graduation.
1, 2, 3. Project Focus! Project Focus!
Maggie Arroz has been challenging herself to make friends at the University of Arizona.
I've been challenging to myself where I speak to imaginary friends, and I want to get that captured into real friends.
Arroz is graduating from Project Focus, a 2-year transition program for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The Special Olympics says nationally, adults with disabilities face an unemployment rate more than twice as high as adults without disabilities. Through Project Focus, Arroz has earned a workforce readiness certificate and gained social skills.
Appropriate social behavior with peers, with people you don't know, with your friends, that distinction. The Project Focus has really helped with that.
Arroz has Down syndrome, but she's enjoying a job right now at the Children's Museum of Tucson, and this is exactly the purpose of Project Focus. Arroz and 10 other students are graduating this year with certificates from the University of Arizona's College of Education. Over the last 2 years, they were supported by around 58 other undergraduate peer mentors.
We have representatives of like 13 different majors, so anywhere from biology to nutrition.
These peer mentors help Project Focus students navigate campus. Since 2010, more than 100 students have earned certificates supported by more than 500 peer mentors. Gonzalez says the benefits go both ways.
Everybody that encounters any of our students is, takes away something.
And the Arroz family says the experience has set Maggie up to succeed.
It builds on a perspective for her of that she can do hard things.
1, 2.
Thanks, Isabella. Project Focus is funded by donations. You can donate at projectfocus.education.arizona.edu. We sent our own reporting team out to see how students feel about Chabot College's support of students and if it supports a path to employment.
Yes, I was wondering whether you felt that Chabot College gives you the proper support and education to help you find a job in the future.
I mean, yeah, Chabot does a really good job with, helping out its community. Since I'm a kinesiology major, I feel like they should open up more internships for people who are interested in the kinesiology field, maybe some more hands-on experience so they get more prepped. So when they transfer over to their undergrad program or their master's program, they have proper training and everything. So it's not just bunched up in one go.
Do you feel that Chabot College provides enough support for you in your future when you're looking for a job?
I'm not too sure about work because this is my first year here, but I do know that with my major specifically, they help provide and find internships that I can do, which will get me connections for the workforce.
Do you feel that Chabot College gives you enough support and education to help you find a job once you finish here?
I do. I think it's a great college, and I think they offer quite a bit of that. In fact, I just saw something on my email this morning from one of the administrators or somebody here, a counselor or somebody, that said there's another workshop going on that I could go attend for job offers. I think they have a lot.
It looks like Chabot students are pretty happy with the support they receive. Some U.S. passengers from a cruise trip stricken with Hantavirus have been ordered to stay in quarantine. According to the New York Times, one passenger who was planning to leave a Nebraska quarantine unit says she received a federal order requiring her to stay at least 2 more weeks. There are 18 passengers who returned to the U.S. from the cruise ship. U.S. health officials previously said they could choose whether to quarantine at home or at the National Quarantine Center in Nebraska. They were encouraged to stay at the quarantine unit. The CDC and U.S. Department of Health and Human Services was contacted for comment. The Ondas strain of Hantavirus is fatal in about 40% of all cases. Infectious disease experts say those who have been on board the cruise ship since early May would just now start showing symptoms. Meteorologists are warning the developing El Niño could turn into what is known as a super El Niño by this fall or winter. El Niño is a natural weather pattern that occurs every 2 to 7 years. Its most notable impact is warming the Pacific Ocean, which shifts wind patterns that trigger weather conditions worldwide that lead to droughts and heat waves in some places, with floods in others. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says there are 2 in 3 chance the current El Niño will be strong or very strong. Some models show it could even become the strongest on record. Powerful El Niños are often followed by La Niñas, which are the opposite and cool the Pacific Ocean. A big positive for the eastern seaboard is El Niño increased wind shear in the atmosphere over the Atlantic Ocean. That makes it harder for hurricanes to form. When you think of 16-year-olds, sudden cardiac arrest isn't the first thing that comes to mind, but that's exactly what happened to one California teen. On May 12th, the town of Roseville, California, honored 8 people who sprang into action to save Mark Moon's life last month. It all happened while he was in band class. After he collapsed, a teacher called the office. The school's nurse and resource officer responded while others cleared the room and got a defibrillator. Paramedics arrived and took Moon to the hospital, where he got a permanent defibrillator implanted. It's still not clear why his heart stopped that day, but the sophomore says he's pretty much back to normal. An urban farm in North Las Vegas, Nevada is helping to feed hundreds of families a month who otherwise wouldn't have access to fresh produce. The Zion Urban Farm first opened in 2024. It is located in a food desert, and many in the area don't have reliable transportation. That means they would have to walk several miles to get to a grocery store. The farm's executive director says they see up to 500 families a month. They are now working to open a food pantry at the garden so families can grab whatever they need. The Stewart Trail fire in Two Harbors, Minnesota has devastated the local community. As of May 19th, the fire has impacted 356 acres. As crews continue battling the Stewart Trail fire, neighbors are coming together to help those placed by the flames. Sophia Larber spoke with one business stepping up to offer support to the community and their employees experiencing a devastating loss.
General Manager Callie Hoff says 2 Rustic Inn employees, Luann Johnson and her son Gavin, lost their home to the flames on Friday.
Sick to my stomach, really kind of gut-wrenched for them. Too awesome, their whole family's awesome people, hardworking, they're great for us, and so really just really sad. It's a scary situation right now.
Johnson's sister, Tammy Dahlbeck, also works at Rustic Inn.
It's devastating.
absolutely devastating to know that they have lost everything.
Dahlbeck says the tragedy feels especially painful following the loss of their parents.
We lost our mother within the last few years. Our father, we lost, quite a few years ago, but any memories of them, it's all gone with her stuff.
Hoff has started a GoFundMe for the family. Rustic Inn is also collecting donations and offering free meals to emergency response crews and all families displaced.
It's community helping community, and so if someone comes in and tells us that they've been affected by whatever means that is, we're here to support them.
Both neighbors and visitors to the community stepping up to lend a hand.
A random woman who happened to be vacationing here came in this morning before we even opened and gave me a hug and said, I heard about the situation, and she handed me a handful of cash, which was just amazing. There are such good-hearted people out there.
It is still very windy out here, so Rustic Inn leaders say they'll watch conditions and evacuation orders closely, but they plan to remain open and collecting donations for as long as they're able to. North of Two Harbors, Sophia Lauper, Northern News Now.
Thanks, Sophia. Due North Pizzeria in Two Harbors is also offering free meals to anyone impacted by the fire. Fortunately, fire crews have reported that the fire is 100% contained. That's all for Chabot News this week. Thanks to all the students and staff of the Mass Communications Department here at Chabot College for making this production possible. You can watch us anytime online at youtube.com/ChabotTV. Stay tuned in to KCTH Channel 27 on Comcast for more Chabot TV.